I'm joined live from Istanbul in Turkey by Bashar EL-Halabi, who's an energy and geopolitical analyst. Bashar, thank you for joining us again here on The Edge. Now, we've seen anybody learning this, the news reports that we've just been watching, the political elites in Lebanon don't want to face accountability for things that have happened in the past. Well, what's your reaction to the current situation?
I mean, I can't add, or I can't even top the reaction by the spokesperson of the victims or the families of the victims, which really highlights a certain level of, a huge level of disgust. And what happened in the past few hours in Lebanon is really another gut punch, not only for the victims, but also for and their families, I mean, but also for the entire population, because despite the different political ramblings, despite the acute differences between different sects and different constituencies in the country, at some point, everyone thought that a massive crime that was embodied by probably the biggest non-nuclear reaction that ever shook the world, at least some sort of justice and accountability would be served for that crime, especially that mere journalistic investigations so far have uncovered a lot of the information related to the Beirut port blast, in addition to the information related to the shipment of the ammonium nitrate that was entered Lebanon's Beirut port, and that eventually exploded 7 years later. And by that, I mean the quantity of the ammonium nitrate, whatever was left of it, and not the ship itself. So there's a huge desperation, depression as well. There's a huge feelings of disgust and helplessness in a way kind of roam and lay heavy on everyone who was affected by this port blast, whether physically, emotionally, or what have you. Non-Lebanese people are worried, they're concerned, they're sad about the turn of events in the country. So imagine what the families of the victims are feeling right now.
Absolutely. Now, the interesting thing, this, as I understand it, isn't actually a criminal case, it's an inquiry. And so it's an attempt to uncover the truth of what actually happened, and along the way to find clues as who is responsible for it. But at this stage, nobody has been put in the dock accused of murder or of any particular crime, have they?
Absolutely not. But let's look at Lebanon's history, especially over the past half century. If there's one staple or one constant that has never changed in Lebanese politics, that is impunity, that reigns supreme in this country when it comes to crimes, when it comes to war crimes, and when it comes to assassinations and what have you. So this impunity shall never be compromised from a regime sense or a regime's perspective or point of view. They believe that if they only compromise for once, then this will cause a snowball effect, and the cases can be opened about previous political assassinations, corruption, and all the criminal acts that have taken place in Lebanon over the past 50 years or so. And mind you, up until today, there hasn't been a real truth and reconciliation process and a transitional justice process for the Lebanese civil war, which resulted in over 100,000 deaths and over 50,000 people who disappeared. So many loose ends kind of cause a lot of fear for the sectarian ruling elite, which is inherently and intrinsically implicated in all the crimes that happened over the past half century or so. And this is why they are going to fight tooth and nail in order to nip it in the bud and not allow even an inquiry to take place, and even not allow the Lebanese to point fingers at certain figures to be responsible for this massive criminal act that took place on August 4, 2020.
Absolutely. Now, yesterday, speaking to a Lebanese news network, Prime Minister Najib Mikati said that the suspension of the probe was a judicial matter, but that he didn't think that Lebanon could withstand the second judge being removed. This obviously is a very powerful insight. Well, what sort of response would the Lebanese people give if this is just washed away for now?
Well, at the end of the day, Prime Minister Najib Mikati is a politician, and he's a veteran politician. So he needs to, from one side, say what he needs to say in order to reassure the international community by saying that the country cannot withstand another judge being ousted from his position in terms of investigating. But at the same time, he understands that the judiciary in Lebanon is deeply compromised and controlled or co-opted as well by the sectarian ruling elite. We know that or almost all judges are appointed through basically political appointees. So it is almost impossible to find a judge that can really pursue his work on very ethical and professional basis and principles. However, the criminal act that took place on August 4 must have shook the judges and their interior. It might have shaken them in general, and it has caused them to probably work at least to try and figure out what happened or what went down on that day. And this is something that has deeply threatened the sectarian ruling elite, and they're trying to put an end to it before it can see the light. But what might happen moving forward, we have to wait until the Cassation Court takes a decision in terms of whether it will oust Judge Fadi Bitar or whether he will be reinstated to the case and will continue his investigations. But there's a loophole that's being played, there's a loophole that's being capitalized on at the moment in the Constitution. We know that when a government is resigned, the parliament in Lebanon is in a case of continuous meetings and resembling, all right? So this offers the MPs in general a complete immunity. And anytime any MP is required to attend any kind of investigation or stand trial, then the entire parliament must agree on lifting this immunity. However, after the formation of a government, we know that there's a loophole for 15 days where MPs lose this immunity, until the next time the parliament convenes. So what Judge Bitar was trying to do is take advantage of those 15 days in order to investigate with the accused or the people that might allegedly be behind or carry some sort of responsibility for the Beirut port explosion. But what Nouhad Machnouk did was put an end to that by going to the Cassation Court and trying to stop Judge Bitar's inquiry through hinting at any sort of impartiality that the judge might actually suffer from. And this has happened before with Judge Hadi Sawan as well towards the end of last year, and he was ousted from his position in February. But I don't think this time, if the judge is removed from his position, then anyone is going to take seriously the Lebanese judiciary or the investigation anymore. It will basically be dead, and people will have to resort to other means. And this is very dangerous. Of course, people are calling for international investigation, but we know that this is almost impossible at the moment. It requires the UN Security Council to take action. And at the same time, if whatever is left of the citizens' trust in the Lebanese judiciary is eradicated, then I'm afraid that things might spiral out of control, because we have people who lost their beloved ones in an explosion with fingerprints of the sectarian ruling elite all over it.
Well, there's every reason that that the causes need to be found, and they need to be found, if for no other reason than to give the families of the victims some comprehension of why they lost their loved ones. Bashar EL-Halabi, thank you so much for joining us here today on The Edge and bringing us up to date.